I'm now joined by Gonçalo Martins from Boombit Games. How are you doing today?
Very well, very well. Tired, but very well.
I know the feeling. We're nearly there,
Nearly
end of the
there.
day, but it's a busy one. This
Yes, yes.
it takes a toll, but in a good way.
In a
So
good way.
I mean, you've already done talks as well, haven't you?
Yes, yes. Yesterday morning, right in the morning, so I was still fresh, but it was really good.
Excellent. I don't think we've spoken to Boombit Games before, so give us the slug line. What is Boombit Games all about?
Yeah, Boombit Games is a lot of things, but mainly we're a publisher and developer, so we publish mobile games. We have a portfolio that is pretty extensive, so we go all the way from mid-core, casual, hyper-casual. I think we are present in a lot of different game genres. We built a lot in-house, but as well we have our publishing arm. So we are trying to be present across as many types of games as possible, which at the end of the day gives us a lot of experience, and I think it's what makes the day-to-day exciting.
Well, it's a challenging landscape out there at the moment. I know we've been talking to a lot of other sort of ad monetizers and developers and things over the past 2 days, and there's been lots of layoffs. There's VC spend is clearly down. Fewer games are likely to get made this year. How have you felt the impact of these changes over the past, year or two?
Yeah, I think we were very lucky in the sense that we were focusing a lot on hyper casual, and then we moved to mid-core around the beginning of 2021. And so we were able to have our feet on the both sides, on the IAP side and on the ad side of publishing, let's say. And that was pretty lucky and fortunate for us. So we saw our mid-cores and we saw our IAP revenue increase, while of course like the ad revenue was decreasing a little bit with all that is happening, right? So we were able to balance it out a little bit. We were able as well to have right away the right focus to go more towards IAP-driven games. And for the past, I would say at least 1 year, we've been building new games that we're going to be publishing soon, but more focusing on IP. So,
Is that the big shift that you've seen in terms of what is delivering at the moment?
also, we've been seeing, for example, even on hyper casual side, that even though before these games were 99% ad revenue focus, nowadays we are seeing a 10% IAP in these very, very low retention games. But still, you see that the users are behaving slightly different towards their games. Like they are more committed to the games that they play, more committed to the games that they like, even though they are hyper casual. And you see that on the IAP consumption. Like they are opening themselves to do a bit more of a purchase, even when we're talking about games that are hyper casual and very low retention.
It's interesting because a lot of people focus on UA at the beginning. It's all about trying to grab as many as possible. But I've been speaking to some folks, and I feel like there's sometimes not as much focus put on not just retention, but reactivating old users who maybe have walked away from it. Have you seen evidence of that? Do you tend to lean towards one or the other in your experiences?
Yes, I think it really depends on the game. Once again, nowadays I think companies and publishers and developers, they're going to be focusing more on nourishing the users that they have, building more content on the games that they have, making sure that the games are for the users to play for a long time. And that will result on going back, trying to revive old users, trying to revive maybe even old mechanics, because we want to nourish the users that you already have, right? Before you're focusing a lot on user acquisition, like I said, a lot of new users, as many as possible, and then there was a big change between games and the users were jumping around, and nowadays is not that much. Like if you have the users, I think the most valuable thing that you can do is try to really give them content, give them quality, and then they will stay and focus more on your daily active users instead of just like acquiring new ones.
All right. We've seen quite a lockdown in data from the major app stores. So obviously Apple did their thing a couple of years ago. Google had been locking down, and even places like China, you talk about making in-app payments more important. They're now saying you can't do daily login rewards, and that's quite a big market in and of itself. Does that loss of signal, that loss of information and data, affect the kind of games that you choose to make?
Yes, yeah, I would like the answer is yes, of course, and it's even like going back a little bit to what I said before, because now with that lack of data, right, with more privacy, inability to target, inability to really target your audience, users themselves start seeing less. They start seeing less ads that really meant something to them, right? So then basically before, if you were playing a puzzle game, you'd see 20 puzzle ads and you jump around between puzzle games. Nowadays, because the users are not having this dynamic on the ad side, they are trusting a lot the games that they know. And they are really staying on the games that they know because at least they know that they can have some comfort, they can have fun, they can play that game and they know what they are playing. Due to the privacy changes and the lack an ability of targeting, an ability of doing the perfect targeting. Users are seeing more random ads, let's say, so they're not going to new games anymore, or as much as before, right? Before was really the users were jumping around a lot, and now they are trusting more what they know. They are staying more on the games that they know, because also in terms of advertising, they are not being faced with a lot of other options, right?
Sure.
So then for us, once again, we are more focused on having a good quality game, a game where the users really can rely on the performance, they can rely on the mechanics, because we know that also they prefer to stay in the game that they know than to jump around between other apps. Yeah.
AI was obviously a big topic last year because of the mainstreaming, if you like, of generative AI. Now, as a publisher, I imagine in your analytics, you use a lot of ML or work with folks who use ML as part of those services. Is there anything from this new wave of AI that is actually useful for what you do? And as you make games and develop games, we've seen people using generative AI to create assets in a way that's both has been received positively and quite negatively in some cases. Do you think it will change the way you develop?
It's tricky because the answer should be yes, because the having AI, special generative AI, involved in asset production is a huge help. It decreases the production time by a lot, but at the same time, generative AI is still not at a point where it gives you new assets, but constant assets that you can use in your game for example, 6 months, right? It's so volatile nowadays. You can ask for a certain type of asset, and then to receive exactly the same style, exactly the same dynamics, the same coloring, but instead of being a human, is a horse. It's very hard. So, of course, it can help you out on maybe inspiration, on have like a base on the assets, having a base on like your scenario, but at the same time keeping that consistency, just so that you can create a game, you can create a good quality game in a long game. Is still very, very hard. I know that in people's mind it looks like it's very easy, right? Just go there, give me this, give me that. But the results that you're getting back are very different, even though within the same style maybe, but they're not consistent enough just so that you can produce a full game. So it's tricky. We are starting to use it. Of course, it's helping out in a lot of areas, but the base is still, I still think the base is pretty, I don't want to say old school because it was 6 months
Sure.
ago, but it's still like the traditional way, let's say.
What do you feel about the pushback against it? The legal issues for one thing, but also the fact that artists are saying that it's like, stolen work and it's effectively putting an entire industry out of a job. I mean, do you feel those fears are grounded or?
I don't think so. You're always gonna need a human support and a human hand in everything we're doing, especially right now. And I would even say for the next 5, even maybe 10 years, depends how it grows. But still, you always need the human touch. You need like the story needs to be aligned. It needs to make sense. We still need to test everything that we are producing, right? It's not just because AI is producing it that it's going to be a success. You still need to iterate, test. It's just, just going to maybe make it shorter in terms of production, make it like even maybe cheaper, which is good. But you still need to curate your game a lot for the users to be attracted to it. It's not going to be easy to produce a nice game. Yeah.
And you've come to the show today. What's the benefit for coming to physical events and these kind of conferences, like in general? What do you hear?
Yeah. I think you're here for the details. I know it's weird to say this, but you end up having a lot of conversations on the side, and I think those conversations are the ones that really give you the small nuggets that you don't have on a Zoom call, on a meeting, on a work meeting. It's after all the bureaucracy and the sales are gone, and then you have like the more face-to-face talks. And you get like what people are thinking, what people are, what are the trends that they're seeing on their side, and that's what really never passes in a meeting, in a Zoom call. You ended up never really talking about that. So I think it's more like the human side of being face to face and trying to understand what they are thinking, what they think of everything.
It's when the mask drops.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully have enjoyed the rest of the show, and
very
thank
much.
you for coming and talking to us today.
Thank you very much.